Welcome to the Road to Welvil podcast. I'm your host, Michelle Terrell. Together, we will explore our own wellness journeys, nurturing body, mind, and spirit. Join me as I talk to top wellness professionals from all over the world with a wide range of backgrounds and specialties. I invite you to discover, discuss, and design your own path on the road to Welvil. Welcome, listener. Today, I am so excited to introduce you to Alana Weinberg. Alana is a yoga teacher, chakra coach, and Reiki master. She has written, co-produced, and starred in Reiki films, co-authored the book Modern Day Miracles with Louise Hay, and studied with Deepak Chopra. She has a wide background that ranges from Ayurveda to healing trauma. I'm so excited to dive deeper into these topics with her and find out more about how she uses this diverse toolbox that we were actually talking about a little earlier to heal herself and help others. Alana, we've known each other since high school, and I've been inspired by your positive energy since way back then. I remember that you always had this positive energy, and whenever our paths crossed, I wanted to be around you. You felt like an old soul. And even when we were right out of college, we were both actors. And I remember running into you like at some auditions and stuff. And I always just felt really attracted to you and your energy. You certainly strike me as a creative soul who uses lots of different media to express yourself, including spiritual arts. I know through the whole process, you've been doing deep work and healing, and I'm really looking forward to hearing more about your story.
Thank you. I felt the same way about you. I always felt really drawn to you and your energy and your presence. And I'm just so grateful to connect with you today.
Yeah.
And all that you're doing. I love all that you are doing.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So I wanted to start kind of at the beginning. I know for a lot of us that are on this healing path and we're helping others, there was an early experience that set you on this path. So I would love to hear if you had any kind of early experiences that set you on this path of healing for yourself.
Sure. So for me, I feel like it's kind of always been around. You know, I always was attracted to yoga. There was always anything like mention of energy work. I was always kind of, keeping my feelers out for. But in my early 20s, I was diagnosed with severe Crohn's disease, and I was bedridden for over 2 years. It was not a good time. And I did everything that the doctors told me and took every medication the doctors told me until I reached a point where the doctors literally gave up on me. They were the top people at Cedars-Sinai, and I was going every week. And they told me to stop coming back. They told me they had no more tricks up their sleeve, and it was just too depressing, and they couldn't help me and not to come in. So that kind of pushed me into, how am I going to get better? And I mentioned to you earlier, we were talking earlier before the podcast that, in a way it was, of course, a blessing, because there was a part of me that even during those 2 years of taking all the medications, I was constantly listening to Louise Hay. I was really into Dr. Bernie Siegel at that time too. I was doing things, I kind of always knew that mind-body connection was there, but it wasn't but I kept, very diligently doing as the doctors asked. And it wasn't until, they no longer wanted to help me that I really took it upon myself to, okay, I need to get better. Let's really dive into the mind-body connection. Let's really dive in to meditating. Meditating was kind of my big thing. So what really got me on my journey was meditation, and the meditation alone got me well enough that I would leave the house one day a week for 1 hour to go to this meditation club. And when I did, I met a guy there who was doing a Reiki training, and there was something about Reiki that always I was drawn to, and I wanted to know more about it. And I remember he said, then you need to come with me. And I was like, how am I going to do that? Like, I was barely leaving my house. And I remember we took everything but the kitchen sink. I think I had like 5 bags of stuff. And we did. And so my first, exposure to Reiki was a Reiki training. And then I just kept doing self-healing. My friend and I kept doing, trades, Reiki on each other. And I kept getting better and better and better and doing my meditation, just all these different things. And then I wound up doing, becoming a Reiki master teacher. And the person who trained me to be a Reiki master teacher also trained people to, it's Cloud9 Yoga School, to be yoga instructors. And so she told me, you need to be a yoga instructor. We're going to make you a yoga instructor. And at the time I was like, give me a break. Like I was kind of doing restorative yoga at that point because the meditation club was in a yoga studio. So that kind of was drawing me into the yoga. And I said, I can barely do a restorative yoga class. And for the training, you needed, 8-hour asana days, and that asana is the poses, but it was just days where you like very physical work for 8 hours. And at the end was a retreat, which I thought, and in 6 months, there's no way I can go on an overnight retreat. Right. I just was not in that place. And she was very loving, very nurturing. She said, I just feel like you need to do this, and we will do everything we can to make it work. If it takes you 3 years, whatever, we're going to make it go at your pace. Well, I don't know what happened, to be honest, because by the end of 6 months, not only did I go on the retreat, but I was teaching level 2 yoga. Like I just dived into the yoga philosophy and continuing the Reiki on myself and just all of it. And I just got so healthy. So it clearly, propelled me in a way of, over 2 years of constant medication and medical advice and infusions, and, just was not helping me, probably making me worse. And listening to my body, tuning into energy, doing healthy habits like yoga and meditation and affirmation work, changing my thoughts and my patterns, just propelled me into so much health. And from that day on, I've just been wanting to share that with others, share the gifts. And through time, you mentioned also trauma, I've gone back and really worked on, pattern rehealing, and I'm very into somatic work, looking at, I love the brain and the nervous system. I dork out a little bit on science. So I've just kind of increased upon that, and everything I learn, I just want to help others in their path to be able to have these tools, because they are tools, and a lot of us grew up lacking a lot of these tools, and a lot of us turn to different types of coping that aren't our healthiest or the best coping tools, because we don't have other ones. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people, I work with people in recovery as well. So a lot of people, turn to drugs or alcohol because they don't know how to cope. And so it's not just about letting go of those things. It's about replacing them with proper, good, healing coping tools. So I work with that as well.
Yeah. Wow. What a great story that you have of healing, and you just took it into your own hands. I think you might have sort of talked about this, but I was wondering if you wanted to touch on it some more. So you had this really severe physical ailment.
Yes.
And you healed it with these spiritual tools. I mean, you said you were doing asanas and some restorative physical tools, but it sounds like you were using a lot of like energetic, spiritual, and maybe some emotional tools in your toolbox too. Was there a point when you realized that physical issue had like spiritual, emotional roots that were causing it?
I mean, I think they were always there. I mean, I think the experiential of it showed that to me. Like, I'm also a Kundalini Yoga instructor, and they say a lot in Kundalini Yoga, it's the experience. You have to have the experience. And once you have the experience, you'll know what I'm talking about. So going through the experience, especially the healing of it, really made me understand how amazing that mind-body connection is. And now that I am a practitioner, I can see it so clearly. Clients come in for a physical ailment, we get into the emotional behind it, or they come in for emotional, the mind, body, soul, spirit, it is all connected. And our body is actually this beautiful vessel that is a communication tool for us. So sometimes our body is screaming, you need to stop, you need to get help, you need to, there is a better way, and you're not you're not getting it, so I'm going to stop you in your path, which, at the moment, trust me, it can be very, very frustrating and upsetting, and you want to heal. And a lot of us, are very, we were taught in the society we grew up in, a very Western medicine approach. And trust me, if I get hit by a car, I please take me to a hospital. I am very much within, we can all work together, that they do all work together. And a lot of the times I feel like, we are speaking different languages, but we're saying the same things. So if you look at the chakra system, there's an endocrine gland everywhere that there's a chakra. That's energy produced in your body by a hormone, So to me, science and spirituality, they can coexist and coincide and are very symbiotic. But sometimes, we are raised in a system where we don't have exposure to that other spiritual, that other element. What is Reiki? What is energy work? We don't know what it is. And sometimes it isn't until, like you said, some big event occurs where you kind of don't have any other choice, and then you enter that path. And so that's why getting these tools out there to people so important to me. It does feel like my purpose, because it is so helpful and beneficial. And just learning, to love yourself, to love your body, to love that your body is this tool and this vessel giving you these messages, and to listen to these messages, and learning your own intuition to heal yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And when we were talking about this before, I know we were saying how we both felt maybe like we were good little girls that were doing what we were supposed to do and listening to the doctors who went to school for a long time. And I think we both agree that has tremendous value, right? The doctors have tremendous value. And it took it to get to the time where the doctors, these experts, were saying, we don't have a solution for you, for us to feel like we had the permission to then take that responsibility onto ourselves, when actually the responsibility was ours the whole time, which then gives us power, right? If we take the responsibility, then it actually is a great amount of power. I do think it takes a level of trust, right? And like you were saying, the experiential, it takes a little bit of trust in yourself, or trust in these other tools to take the first step, and then the second step. And then, as you said, like in Kundalini, you experience it, and then, wow, this is working. Well, this is working. I tried this, and this is working. Then you kind of continue down that path as the proof is in the pudding, as you see it.
Yes. And right? I think sharing these stories is important as well, to give you that permission, that when you hear there's other people, and I've worked with lots of people that, the medical profession can help, or just, but I also work with a lot of nurses. So I mean, because a lot of nurses need extra self-care and support. And I have a lot of psychologists as well that are clients of mine, so, there's, and things are changing. They're changing. The place I used to work at, go inward. We used to go into Kaiser and do Reiki work on their staff. So, things are starting to become more open. But like you said, I want to give a permission slip. I want to give a permission slip to every listener to, try some alternative, type things. But hopefully one day, like I was saying, to me, they're symbiotic. Like one day it won't be seen as so alternative, we can be able to use all these systems. They're all tools. They're all beautiful. They all have wonderful value, is how I feel.
Yeah, that's kind of one of my intentions for the website, actually, is where a doctor, because I work with an integrative doctor who I love, and he, I know, has had a shortage of like nutritionists or, people, Reiki practitioners, different modalities. It's great. It's a place where he can then, say, well, I think this might be a good idea, and here's a place you could look, to find a professional to help you further, because that's not my specialty, right?
Yes. Yeah. And just to have, different support, that's kind of what they are. The energy work is to support your body and its natural healing ability, and we all need different support in different ways. And what, I teach such a variety of yoga classes, because one, there are people who try one and they hate it, and they try a different kind and they love it. We're all just, individuals. So it's part of that, like listening to your intuition, what connects with you, what works for you.
Yeah, I know we were talking about Kundalini earlier, and I remember one of my best friends who took me to my first Kundalini class, and this was Ram Dass Beer Singh. It's in
Oh,
Santa
wow.
Ana in his little house, where he cooks like dinner for you afterwards, and it was crowded. I mean, his house has got to be over 100 years old, and I just remember like, this is yoga, because my yoga experience has been, Lululemon wasn't around at the time, but whatever, like
Gym yoga.
Yeah, exactly. Like gym yoga, which I loved. I had great teachers at the
Yes.
gym too, but yeah, I was like, wow. And then at first I remember it was like, this chanting is kind of weird. Like, okay, I'm just here with my friend to like, we're going to go have drinks later or something. And then then I was like, oh my gosh, these changes. It's like what you said, like I just kind of put myself there and I was open to it. And then, later that week, I was profound changes, like in work, like stressful things coming up. And I just felt like I could deal with them so much better. And I had more tools. And then I just followed that path like a snowball going downhill. And I haven't looked back since. And I'm so glad I did. But I kind of forgot the point there. But, I think it was what you're saying about all the different types of yoga.
That what connects people. For me, the first time I did Kundalini yoga, I hated it. I would be honest. First time I just wasn't there at that time. Maybe I had to be a Hatha yoga instructor for like 14 years before I was ready for Kundalini. Like the first time I tried Kundalini, I was like, whoa, that's, much for me. And now I absolutely love it. So, we can change. And that's why I teach such a variety of yoga classes. People always ask me, what kind of yoga do you do? And in my own daily practice, sometimes it's Kundalini, sometimes it's Vinyasa flow, sometimes it's very restorative. And that's what I love about yoga. And what makes me a dynamic teacher is, like I said, I know every variation, every pose, because I had to learn it, because I could barely move my body when I began my yogic path. And that's, to me, the beauty of yoga is you can barely move and be in bed and you can still do yoga. You can do breath work. You can do meditations. You can do chants. It isn't all about, we're very focused in Western society on asanas, the poses. And that's what I joke with gym yoga. I actually, believe it or not, taught Kundalini yoga in a gym. When we first reopened from COVID, they let me do that. So that was really cool.
That's awesome.
But there a lot of yoga classes are very focused on the physical aspect. There's so much more to it. So I just love that. So wherever you're at, there's a yoga for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I wish I remembered his name, and I'll have to research it. Maybe I'll put in the podcast notes, but I heard a speaker. He had been a football player, I think a professional football player, maybe it was college. And he had like a devastating injury where then like on the field where he was then paralyzed from the neck down, and he didn't know anything about yoga at that point. But I think someone came in and started teaching him breath work. And that was his first piece. And the breath work started to really change him. And he built from there like a yoga practice. And now he's a yoga teacher. He's walking. You would never know that he'd had this injury where doctors were saying, you're never going to walk again.
Yes,
he started from breath work.
Yes.
Amazing.
No, breath work is amazing. I always say that if you can master the breath, you can master anything. Like the breath is amazing. And it's always with you. Always.
Yeah, it's like that link between your sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system.
Yes, it is. Definitely.
Awesome. Well, I know we've been talking about energy, and I do have other people that I speak to about energy, and I feel like the definition can be kind of broad. Of course it's broad, but I would love to hear from you in your words. If I have a listener who's saying, well, what does that mean, energy? I know I have energy to go for a walk, or I don't have energy, so I go to bed, but what do you mean when you're talking about energy, and how does it affect our lives?
It's a very interesting question. To me, energy is kind of in yoga, we say prana, life force. It's like the life force between everything. But to me, it's not just the life force between everything. It's also the breaths in between. It's like that which we cannot see, which is kind of what is creating, energy is to me like what is making the plants grow, what is, I think, if you're into chakras, very second chakra, what is, my passion, what is driving me forward, what is getting me to do things. And then also relationships, community, there's an energy right now between you and I that we are creating. If we stop talking, that energy is still there. you know, and if, when we talk about energy in the body, so I talk about, you know, the chakra system, I'm a big fan of, energy work, you know, energy work. It's not me giving you my energy. It's just, there's universal energy. It's abundant, it's infinite. There's full access to it. And when we can enter that energetic realm, I've studied a lot with Deepak Chopra. He talks a lot about, you know, like it's limitless. There's infinite possibilities, you know, energetically. So that energy can even be potential. He talks about pure potentiality. It can even be that energetic potential of, you know, what can be, what is, you know, and if, you know, you can even get on the level of soul, you know, what exists beyond, you know, this is my body, this is my vessel. But, you know, when somebody passes, you know, I use the reference with my daughter that it's kind of like a candy bar and a candy bar wrapper, you know, and our bodies are kind of just our candy bar wrapper, you know, but that essence, that energetic inside of us, you know, can go beyond wherever you believe it goes. That's up to you. I'm not even sure. I joke that I believe in everything and nothing all at once at the same time. You know, I'm very open to different viewpoints and ideas. And so just to me, energy is everything that, I mean, it's everything really. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? Or
absolutely.
Probably doesn't.
I like that analogy of the candy bar wrapper. That's a great way to look at it. You know, it's like the body is our shell or our housing that, you know, helps us get from A to B. You couldn't take the candy bar from the Hershey's factory to the store without the wrapper, right? But it's
yes,
really
no, the wrapper is really important. Yeah, and it's important to take good care of your wrapper.
Exactly. Yeah, you want a nice wrapper, shiny silver wrapper. So kind of in the same vein of energy, I know that you worked with Louise Hay, which is amazing. If you don't know about her, listener, she was like the mother of a lot of what we're talking about, right? Like manifesting. So I just wanted to know, you know, what was that like?
So Louise Hay to me was like such an important person. My mom actually, so this will date me. But
girl, we went to high school together, so you date yourself and you date me.
So my mom used to put, during her divorce, she was having a hard time when she got divorced, she would put the cassette tape. That's why I was like, this is gonna date me. It's a little white cassette tape of Louise Hay affirmations in the car, and we would listen to it. So Louise Hay is very big on affirmations, affirming. I do on my Instagram affirmation of the day videos.
I love those,
and they'll be on YouTube soon, and I just need to put it together.
Yeah, I love those.
And so, you know, when I was very sick, Louise Hay, I used a lot. I did a lot of her affirmation work. She has a book, You Can Heal Your Life. And Louise Hay is very big on the mind-body connection. She even has affirmations for whatever ailment is going on in your body. So I was just obviously very, you know, a big fan. And she was writing a book called Modern Day Miracles. And it was about, you know, if she's affected your life and you've healed because of her work, you know, send in your story. And my dream at the time was to be a published Hay House. Her publishing company is Hay House, which is Deepak Chopra, Wayne Dyer, Marianne Williamson. I mean, a lot of I think Gabby Bernstein's now. Mm-hmm. So, you know, very famous publishing. And that was my dream, to be, you know, published by Hay House. So I sent in my story, and it got chosen. So yeah, so it was really, really cool.
Yeah, that is amazing. Yeah, I think Joe Dispenza too is one of the authors.
Yes,
of Hay House that I love. Yeah, I love Hay House. Yeah, and
so it's a good crew to be among.
Yeah. And she was, I think, I had some cyst problems, and I think it was a therapist who recommended that You Can Heal Your Life book. And that was life-changing for me too. And I remember in the back, it was so cool. There's like a little index of just,
and you can just Google it, because I still do it. I'm like, oh, I got this, you know, what is this? What is, you know, let me look it up, you know, and to me, they're always spot on.
Yeah.
You know, and just saying that affirmation and over again, you know, really for me has been influential. So try it. You know, that's my biggest thing with all these practices, you know, these tools. Try it, see if it works for you, experience it for yourself, just give it a try. And if it works, obviously keep doing it, you know? So for me, affirmations have been profound.
Yeah. Absolutely. And then kind of, I guess, in that vein too, I know that you have worked with a lot of people on their own healing path. So I wanted to hear, this podcast is all about storytelling, and you've told your story, parts of it. And do you have stories of clients that have really affected you working with them?
I think, they've really affected me. It's interesting. Just in their will and their drive. I think that's what's beautiful, that's what's profound is seeing people, we so desperately want to be happy and healthy, and to see people who want that and are trying to obtain it, but don't necessarily have the right tools. And then you help them and you give them the right tools and you see these amazing changes in their life. Is like the greatest gift ever. I love my job. Like I really do.
Yeah.
I feel so blessed and grateful to do what I do. But I mean, like on a physical level, recently I had someone just, get off their blood pressure medication they'd been on for 20 years and they couldn't get over it. And I had a client who had like severe endometriosis and didn't think she could have another kid and went to her doctor. She did a lot of Reiki with me. And the doctor was dumbfounded, like it completely disappeared. I mean, I have lots of like healing stories. The one that stands out to me the most actually was a younger client of mine who was a very is a very talented artist. And she kind of was in that, like you were mentioning, like we needed permission to not go to the doctor and kind of do this. She went into her family's business and was kind of doing that and not really following her dreams. And through working with me, she created her own clothing line and like famous rappers are wearing it. And she like skyrocketed, very quickly. And so just seeing that, being able to help people to follow their heart, their passion, to, learning to love themselves and value themselves and get out of some toxic relationships and, to create the life they want to live, to live a good, happy, fulfilling life. We're all meant to have that. We're a lot of us are given. That's why I work a lot on pattern healing. A lot of us are given, a lot of messages at a young age, that say otherwise, but truly we are all meant to live healthy, happy, fulfilling lives where I love my life. Like I love what I do for work. I'm excited to share and talk about my passions and give wisdom. And by doing so, I have to hold myself accountable and do my yoga practice, which I love, so, we can live better lives. It can be better and it should be better, and you deserve better, and you deserve to love yourself and give yourself a break.
I love that. I just got like this huge surge of like joy and inspiration from listening to you talk. And I feel like I'm on that same path too, like doing this podcast and getting to talk to people like you all the time is like, that fulfills me. And like you said, I'm still holding myself accountable. I'm practicing the yoga. I'm still, taking steps towards my own healing. I think we both talked about this, how it's like this constant journey that we're all on. And it's just so fulfilling when you've taken a few steps or you've made some progress to like, share that with others. And it's awesome that you're.
Yes. Yes, it is.
So do you have any practical takeaways for listeners right now who might be going through painful times or looking for alignment? What are your kind of practical takeaways?
Well, we're all in trauma right now. I mean, we're all like everyone's root chakra is out of balance. We're in a pandemic.
Yes.
So just call it what it is.
Right.
So my takeaways for that. I have many, but I was saying earlier, just, give yourself a break, give yourself credit. We are very, very, very hard on ourselves, and we are going through something that, no one's ever gone through before, not in this way and with everything, attached and in it. And we weren't given any tools from, our predecessors because they didn't go through this, it's all very new. And a lot of us, were given, I have tools from, being bedridden, believe it or not. It was like, I'm like housebound, piece of cake, like,
Right.
but for a lot of people that's a lot. It's a lot, and it is a lot. I'm not trying to discount it. I'm just trying to make a joke and make it lighten it up. But so my takeaways are, be easy on yourself. You've accomplished a lot. Look at how much you've already accomplished. We're asking parents we mentioned earlier, we're asking parents to quit work, to try to work at home while having a child on virtual school, while, staying in the house. Well, it's a lot is being asked of us, and to honor that and honor yourself for all that you've already gone through up until this point. And then on the flip side, you can make a celebration of anything. It doesn't, because you're stuck at home doesn't mean, and because you're disappointed and because you're frustrated does not mean you can't have fun at the same time. In mourning, there is joy. That's why alcohol is served after a funeral. You are allowed to laugh. You are allowed to have fun. You are allowed to make these moments in your home. Yes, you're stuck at home, but you can play a game. You can, and I encourage, if you're able to, go for a walk, get outside, get in nature, even look out your windows, look at green plants. You have your breath, you have your, even when I was bedridden, Dr. Bernie Siegel would say, you don't have to go anywhere to have a trip. You have your imagination, you have your creativity. You could write stories, you can draw, you can, so find the joy where you can, and I think that's something that's really important right now, is a lot of us forget that, we have been so used to looking for outside of us, right? Looking outside of us for validation, for support, for entertainment. Everything you need is within you. It's like a seed in a tree. Everything that's in that little tiny seed becomes like the mighty oak tree, I recently went to Santa Cruz and saw these amazing redwoods, and it began as a tiny seed. Everything it needed was in it. You are the same. You have everything you need within you. So, that's one beautiful thing about this, is we're all kind of being forced to go inward, to rely on ourselves, to love yourself. The most important relationship you're going to have is with yourself. But we can still, right now we're doing a podcast, still communicate, even though you may be physically isolated, everybody's a phone call away, or a FaceTime. Now we have FaceTime away, or you can go within and meditate, and you're never alone, even if you don't know a person, you can go within, and within there is a voice inside you that's, with you always, loving you and supporting you. And that we have so much more resources inside of us than I think we ever realize. And I think, blessing of this is we're beginning to tap into that, that we can always go within for everything we want, and just be easy on yourself. This is huge, what you're going through. I'm actually very big on self-compassion. There's been tons of studies on that self-compassion is actually more important than self-esteem for success in life. But yes, being so compassionate with yourself right now. You're going through so much. We all are. And it's almost like this, I tell my daughter, we're in this big kind of scientific experiment. You know what I mean? Like, no one's done this. No one knows how to navigate this. So, a deep breath. Oh my God, what an amazing tool. Oh, wow. It's always with you. You can take deep breaths. One of my big tools that I like to give is the because that helps get out anger, and that helps actually cleanse your liver as well. Ooh. And so when I'm angry, I'll it out, so if you're feeling anger, you're feeling sort of frustrated, just and you feel better.
I've never heard that one. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah, it's simple. Or, everybody says take deep breaths. People hate it when you say take deep breaths, at the same time. But our breath is amazing. It's powerful. Left nostril breathing is like a Xanax. I'm sure a lot of people with the Xanax, industry has gone up during this time, which is totally okay. You need it. But you can also just left nostril breathe. And that will calm your whole system. You can right nostril breathe, and that's our speed. That will give you more energy. If you're feeling worn down, you need more energy. Right now, so breathe. We have a whole dynamic chemical compound system. Our pharmacy is, inside of us. So use it,
Yeah. Wow. You have such a wise, deep toolbox there. I knew about the nostril breathing, but I never heard about the sing. So for any listeners who want to find out more about you and your offerings, where can they find you?
So lots of places. I'm very excited about it. I just launched a new course for 2021, and it's called You Don't Have to Go Through 2021 Alone, because I know how tough these times are. And I'm going to have different tiers, but if you'd like, depending what tier you choose upon, it can include individual coaching with me as well as a group support. I've spent like the whole year thinking about what do people need right now, and it's community, it's support, as well as one-on-one personal. So if you do the highest tier level, which is really what I created the course to be, you would get weekly one-on-one coaching with me. You get weekly group. So it'd be a very small group that meets weekly, that becomes your community, your support, and your accountability. And then I've never done this before, but I'm giving 365 days a year access to me, unlimited emails. I will email you back, and fully be in your corner, fully supporting you, cheering you on. So you can find me at Instagram is Heal with Alana. So it's Heal with, and then Alana is spelled Alana. And I do affirmation videos and other inspiration there. And then I have also, my website is IamAlanaWeinberg.com. So it's IamAlana, and then Weinberg is WEINBERG. .com because I am is very, very powerful words.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I will link all that in the show notes too. So
thanks. I know
they want to find it again. Yeah, it'll be there. Excellent. Yeah. The I am, that's huge. Tell me more about that.
So I am are the most powerful words, that's why. So when you do affirmation works, you say I am, and I am is an affirmation, you are affirming. I am strong. I am smart. I am brave. I am wise. And then you can change it. I deserve the best. But the words I am have a lot of power. And so I do a lot of affirmations for the chakras. And then for me, the crown chakra is just I am. And that's, to me, a reminder of our crown. We all wear a crown, we always say that, like fix someone else's crown, or don't forget, you have your crown on. And that's when we feel like we are always in connection with our higher best self. That I always have a visualization for myself, maybe it'll help you guys as well, of, there's this higher self of us, it could be, our soul self, or when we feel fully in alignment, or, when we're the person giving us advice or support, that inner voice inside of us, that wisdom. And then I have this image of kind of my inner child that's like a little disheveled, and she's kind of holding the hand of that woman with the crown on, that we can unite them as we go throughout our time on this planet. That's what I was talking about, like calling in, listening to your inner wisdom. So when I say I am all, that energy that we were talking about earlier is it within everything. So that makes us the same as everything, that we're all connected, and it also brings upon empathy, to care, I am everyone on this planet. So it's important for me personally to take care, and help those that need help, as well as the environment. I am the trees, I am the ocean. So yeah, I am is very important to me.
Oh my gosh, I love that explanation that you just made, because I resonate with those words. I am. That was amazing, and I like how you took it into like the environment and everyone around us too. That piece of empathy. I hadn't really thought about it like that before. So thank you for sharing that. I feel like I just healed with Alana a little bit right now. Well, this was so nice to chat with you, Alana. Thank you so much for being here. And I look forward to next time. That's what I say, at the end of these. And, we were talking about the silver linings of, staying in sometimes. And, it's like, I'm not having to have all that small talk, like bar conversation anymore so much, or like going out, like now I'm at home and I'm having these real conversations with people that I really resonate with about like things that really, really interest me. And it feels like a good use of my time and energy. And I just feel really uplifted. So thank you for being a part of my silver lining today.
Yeah. Aw, thank you. My pleasure. You're part of my silver lining. Thank you.
All right. Until next time, I'll say. Thank you so much for joining us today. To learn more about today's guest and a wide range of other wellness professionals, please visit our global wellness community at welvil.com. WELVIL.com. I look forward to meeting you next time on the road to Welvil.